Hey Neppers, it's me, Wild Neptune, and this is going to be an Epic 7 video to go over a new hero coming out, Edda. She'll be here in a few days, and I'm here to tell you the information you need to know on if you should pull or save on this unit. But before that, please leave a like down below, subscribe, comment, catch me at Twitch at twitch.tv/WildNeptune. And here we go. Gonna watch this little intro video of her. Not the whole thing, just as a little bit here. To get an idea on how emo she is. How sad and everything. Melancholy, with however you wanna say it. Boom, there it is. Anyway, let's skip to her stats. So she is a Eris Mage. I believe she's the only 5-star one in the game. She's Ice Element. Here are her stats right here. As you see here, she has good attack, pretty good attack actually. Okay health, lowish speed at 106. Good defense, really high crit chance at a base at 27%, and she has an effectiveness at 18% with a 27% concentration. But anyway, let's look at her skills. And her skill tree is absolute 0, and it has a 60% chance, 85% at max molas, plus 4 molas, to stun for 1 turn. It's an AoE, and it increases combat readiness of all allies by 5% times the number of crits you make. So max 20% for all of that. It is on a 4-turn cooldown when you mola this up. And let's talk about the skill right now. So the premier stun, AoE stun in the game is Ambitious Tywin on his S3. And there are a couple advantages his S3 has. One is that he is element neutral. So he doesn't have to deal with missing. Edda is a water element, so her stun is much less reliable than a Tywin's. On top of that, the CR increase is nice. When you want to be pushing, your team up for more damage and everything like that. But that's much more of I'd say an all-in type strategy, and it's from experience because I don't have a Tywin, so I actually have to rely sometimes on strategies like this. It is much more volatile than what I see players using a Tywin to stun with, because he can hold it for a little bit, wait for that soul burn, which is incredibly powerful, and just start AoE stunning every other turn, which is quite good. However, he also gives the speed down, which I would argue, if you land the speed down, it is probably better overall than the CR increase. So, not a bad S3, but you need to keep in mind that Silverblade Araminta, despite also having a AoE stun on their S3 at an even higher percentage to land, right? And arguably a better one. Also, element neutral is not being currently used in the meta, and that's also with I believe, a better base speed than Edda has. So if you really want to take advantage of this stun right here, you have to make sure you precede her with, say, a unit like Cerise. Is probably the best example. Maybe a fast Bryceria too. But we've seen stuff like this before, at least similar to it, and despite being good on paper, it's not really translating to seeing use in the game. But Her S2 is attacks all enemies with an explosion of ice, dispelling 1 buff before decreasing combat readiness by a random amount between 5 and 20%. A crit will decrease CR by an additional 10%. It is at a 3-turn cooldown when you mold this up, and the rest of the skill ups are for damage. And the soul burn is decreased by 2 turns, which means you can use this every other turn. So they kind of took the 8 high wind soul burn and put it onto her skill 2 instead for the dispel and the CR decrease. So what I think about this is it's kind of similar to Benevolent Roman's trigger proc on the S1, which will also decrease CR by a random amount. The reason why Broman isn't really used is that his proc is not reliable enough where, you know, he can S3, right? Like, maybe land something, probably gets resisted, and then they cleanse it off, and his S1 just, like, never works type deal. On top of that, it's just very bad into Emo Crow and stuff like that, too. But the CR decrease 5% is like negligible, right? But what this can do is mess up like turn ordering and stuff for some teams. Again, one of the big things here though is that because she is 106 speed, she's not gonna be outspeeding things right off, right? So you have to make sure when if you pick her and you want to use her for this buff dispel, and remember, it is only 1 buff. So let's say the other team has a FCC, right? It'll be random on if you dispel the barrier or immunity if they have it, stuff like that. But because she's that slow, you might have to like draft around things like faster units, like even things like Bazaar might be built faster than you, even though I believe they are speed tied, which again leads me to being like, you probably want to use her with another unit that is faster than her, and a lot of faster units are going to have strips of their own that you also want to use. So it's like, okay, like let's say I have a Cerise, right? And I use her, and I strip off, the buffs already. And, well, now I just don't benefit from this buff decrease, right? And, in that case, maybe I use the S3 first, right? But, and get the stun. But then this just becomes kind of a win more type skill, right? And that's what I feel like she kind of is right now. A win more unit, kind of similar to, say, Fireball, where his kit on paper is really good, but in practice, when you want to get everything working together, it's kind of, if you start winning with him, you'll just keep winning, and he doesn't really have, a catch-up mechanic. Where here, if you manage to outspeed with your Cerise, and then outspeed with her too, and land the stuns, that's it. It's probably pretty good for you, right? But you were that fast anyway, where you could have probably brought another unit at the same speed and did something similar and also won, which is it's the thing. So if you get behind, it's pretty hard to come back with her, in my opinion. Unlike a Tywin, again, where you can hold his S3 and, stall out a little bit with his composition because he is a little bit tankier, and you have some more comeback potential because of how strong his S3 Soulburn is. But besides that, we look at her S1, which is simply unhealable for a turn. How good this is debatable, but it's whatever. Unhealable is not that relevant of a debuff right now in PvE. It's kind of a niche in the situations it might be used in. Like the one thing it might maybe like against Fire Ravi, it could be okay, but also you saw it here in a second, but the artifact is increases critical hit chance of all allies by 5%, max 10% at Emerald B, and 30% for the caster's effectiveness. I think this artifact's okay. It's good for like PvE, right? That's really it, unfortunately, because in a lot of cases you'll want your critical hit of both of your units to be at 100% or close to it at all times. Of course, some units might have like little less than that, but not consistent enough where you're probably going to get the full benefit if he maxes out, right? And the effectiveness is okay, but let's be real here. She has a soul burn where she gets a 2-turn decrease on her skill for 10 souls. So you are gonna want to use book probably on her just to be able to utilize that soul burn quickly. And that's really where mage artifacts had to become really, really good, because so many mages benefit from book. In fact, just like not even mages, just like a lot of units in general benefit from having a book on your team, which is why Togs is probably the most used artifact for PvP in the game right now. I would reckon, but overall, I think she is a little bit clunky to use, in my opinion. When you win with her, I think you'll win pretty hard, but you'll often be in a situation where you don't really utilize your whole kit efficiently, and when you do, you'll feel like it didn't matter. Like you just won so hard that you could have did it with anybody. And when you lose, well, it'll be because of things like she's too slow, elemental disadvantage, right? Her what do you call it? Just not her stuff not proccing correctly. Randomness on the S2, things like that, right? Damage-wise, I do think she's going to be pretty good overall. So if you're a more offensive-minded player who wants to just try to push the envelope and just, have some CC to mix in with your damage dealing, and you maybe don't have something like a Tywin or Silverblade Araminta, well, maybe you go for her. But my conclusion is that I would pass on her. I don't think she's going to be a huge influence in the meta. Of course, if you just like her design, she does have a really good design. By all means, go for her. Just be aware that the Guilty Gear rerun is coming sometime in April. So you might want to like save up a little bit. This is my opinion. And also remember, new IP collab by June. So that's my thoughts on Edda. Hope you find this helpful. Anyway, it's been a good one. Nep out.